As Mark Holmes and Dan Sileo fall in love, the one thing they get completely wrong. Kellen Moore wasn't the problem in Dallas. It was Dak Prescott. He chokes. The truth of the matter is this. The Eagles are a prime time destination while everybody wants to get out of Dallas. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Kick Dingbat here, and you know the Eagles are a prime time destination. Players are sitting there trying to figure out how to get to Philly while star players in Dallas are all trying to leave. And like I say all the time, it could always be worse no matter what. You could have been in a car accident. Your car could have gotten stolen. It's okay. You could be a Cowboy fan. Your house could have got burglarized. It could be worse. You could be a Cowboy fan. You could have lost your pets. It could be worse. You could be a Cowboy fan. The city that you lived in could get nuked. It could be worse. You could be a Cowboy fan, but we're not. We're Eagle fans here. We bleed green, and it's all uphill for us as the Eagles enter. I said it, I believe it, the golden era of Eagles football. Last year was just a little speed bump on that road to paradise. Now, before we get into everything I got to say today, which is probably a lot, here's what I want to say. Congratulations to Fletcher Cox on a wonderful, wonderful career. We have already talked about him retiring, but today he held his official press conference in which, he thanked the Eagle fans, thanked the Eagles, talked about his career. And Fletcher Cox was one of the great picks and went down and is going to go down as one of the Eagles' greats. One of my favorite all-time moments for Fletcher Cox is when he tells George Bush, he calls him out, right? Like the pregame, and Bush is out there going to flip the coin, and he's trying to shake the Eagles' hands. He says, I hear you're like a Cowboy fan. And he's like, we're about to whip that ass. I think that must be like my favorite all-time Fletcher Cox moment. But Fletcher Cox was a great player. So I just once again want to take a moment to say, thank you, Fletcher Cox, for everything you have done for the Eagles, bringing us our first championship. Everything, man. You were a great Eagle, and I'm glad that you played your whole career just with us, man. Thank you so much, man. It's awesome. So shout out to Fletcher Cox on a wonderful, wonderful career. Secondly, Cooper DeJean. I'm telling you, we talked a lot about the Eagles like this kid, and I believe they love this kid. And I believe after the combine that he just had, they probably really love this kid, okay? But guess what? I don't think he's going to be at 22. This kid might have just shot up the boards, okay? Cooper DeJean, check this out, his pro day. 40 time, ran a 4.43. Vertical, 38.5. Broad jump, 10.4. And then he benched 225 16 times. You can compare him to 40 time of Trent McDuffie, vertical of Steve Smith, broad jump of Jalen Johnson, and then bench of Antrell Roll. That's pretty good. And the way I see Cooper DeJean, like I said before, I don't see him as an outside cornerback. I think he's a safety. I think he's a safety who can play everywhere. And I think that some defensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator with a good mind, somebody wants to get a hold of him, they're going to use him as like a Swiss Army knife. They're going to use him all around. And in some ways, they're going to try to build their defense around guys like him. I think he's going to be a good player at the next level. I do. I think he's going to be good. There's nothing I can say about it. Do I think the Eagles like him? I do. I don't think the Eagles look at him as outside corner. I think the Eagles look at him as a weapon. It's the same philosophy that they had with Barkley, right? Everybody's talking, well, you got a running back. You got a running back. You got a running back. No, we got a weapon. I think that's how the Eagles would look at Cooper DeJean. But I don't think Cooper DeJean is going to even end up in Philly, to be quite honest with you. I definitely don't. I think he's going to go way ahead of time. Way, way ahead of time. So, great pro day by Cooper DeJean. It's going to be interesting to see where he falls and what the Eagles are going to do. I can tell you this. The Eagles and Philadelphia, it's a prime time destination. Players want to come to Philly. Players want to be Eagles. We are really in a great situation here. And I tell you, I think by the time this draft is over, I think a lot of people are going to be wowed by what the Eagles do, because I think Howie's got some big, giant moves up his sleeve. And he's going to come with it, man. Watch out for my man. Watch out for my man Josh Allen in Jacksonville. Does he get a contract done? I am monitoring that like closely. I got all my computers. I got artificial intelligence. I got people hired. I am monitoring the Josh Allen situation in Jacksonville like crazy, because I see the potential for a giant blockbuster steal for the Eagles. And I think Howie Roseman sees something similar. Now, will Howie go and do it? I don't know. It's very hard for me to say. I tell you this, I know he's looking into it. I know that talking about it, he's already been there, done it. He's already investigated the matter. But that's what's great about being an Eagle fan. We get to actually come out and we actually go into free agency and we get players. We actually get our star players to want to retire in Philly. Think about it. Jason Kelce retired in Eagle. Fletcher Cox retired in Eagle. How many players do that? How many players do that, especially right now in today's football? Not many. Not many. Think about this. Players like Saquon Barkley, rivalries, right? He was with the Giants. He wanted to come to Philly. You got Micah Parsons. He wants to come to Philly. It's so bad for Parsons that Eagle fans don't even want him. They don't even want him. But guess what? Guess what? Parsons wants to be an Eagle. Think about it. I mean, Dallas has got it bad, you know. And when I hear Mark Holmes talk about Kellen Moore, and he goes on Dan Silly's show, it just bothered me. Like, oh yeah, Kellen Moore's a choker, and Kellen Moore did this, and Kellen Moore always choked in the playoffs. How could you possibly hold Kellen Moore accountable and then ignore Dak Prescott and what he does? Dak Prescott went and lost to a 7 seed. A 7 seed. Without Kellen Moore, he was gone. You can't blame Kellen Moore for that. I think it's absolutely crazy. Truth of the matter is, in Dallas, those players want to leave. Think about it. I mean, you got your star quarterback won't even renegotiate his contract with you or restructure, so your team can't get better. He's just holding you hostage, whether it's Dak's fault or the ownership's fault. But either way, there's a disconnect there. Then you have the reports of CeeDee Lamb that he might hold out. Now they're saying that he might not hold out. Who the hell knows? But he's got to get a contract. And then Micah Parsons got 1 foot out the door. He's got 1 foot in Philly. How many signs does he have to give you, peoples, to tell you he bleeds green? He wears the Sixers stuff. He wears the Philly stuff. He's just telling you, I bleed green. So I got to say, when I look at this all season, and I look at the Eagles, and then I look at the Cowboys, I mean, it's dramatic, the differences. The Eagles actually try to win. The Dallas Cowboys, they worry about every little cent that they have. But the weird thing is Dallas didn't get to making a lot of money and being one of the biggest franchises in sports by not winning. They went out and they won a bunch of championships back in the day. That's how they got so valuable. Now they're just throwing it all away. And the Eagles, we are gaining all that steam. This is our time. This is our decade. I truly believe it. One good draft and we're set. I absolutely love it. I just have to say it because, you know, all this Kellen Moore crap coming out now about, oh, Kellen Moore choked. No, he didn't. Dak Prescott choked. Kellen Moore wasn't making those throws. He didn't throw those interceptions. He didn't make those bad plays. I'm not saying he's perfect, but come on. Who are we fooling here? Forget about it. All right. Now, as far as this draft goes, We talked about a little about Cooper DeJean's pro day, but I tell you what, I think John McMullen wrote a great article, and it was the Philadelphia Eagles' top 30 visits signaling Howie Roseman's draft plans. I absolutely think it does. I think that the draft plans are pretty much laid out right before us. The Eagles are going to go 85-90% chance Eagles are drafting an offensive lineman. I think Troy Fautanu is the guy that they want, and I think they're going to try to trade up for him. But John McMullen wrote an article taking a look at the positions in which the Eagles have bringing in for a visit. So here's what he wrote. He said, to date, 18 of the Eagles' top 30 visits have been reported, and scorecard reads 6 offensive linemen. All right, so out of the 18, they've already looked at 6 offensive linemen. Tyler Guyton, Travis Glover, Brandon Coleman, Cooper Beebe, Christian Mahogany, Zach Zinter. They looked at, also, we know Troy Fautanu is coming in for a visit, so he's another one. That would actually be 7. And then he's met with the Eagles twice, okay? Then when you look at the edge rushers, the Eagles have had Latu, Marshawn Nealon, Chop Robinson, and then linebackers, Edrin Cooper, Jalen Ford, Trevin Wallace, and cornerbacks Cooper DeJean, Andrew Phillips, and DeCamerion Richardson. So when you look at this tells you by their visits exactly where they're looking. Number 1, the Eagles are looking at offensive linemen. Number 2, they're looking at edge rusher. Now remember, they got to get another edge rusher, and the reason they got to do it is because next year you only have Nolan Smith and Bryce Huff. They're your only 2 guys under contract, so they're going to have to do something. And then linebacker, I think the linebacker one's a little shocking. I think the linebacker is more likely. That's round 2 type move. I think that's a round 2 or round 3 type move. And then the cornerback, I don't think they're taking any corner. The only corner I think they'll take is Cooper DeJean. I do. I think they look at Cooper DeJean as a weapon. I think they see him as a guy who can play everywhere, and Vic Fangio probably would like to utilize him. And it would be a pretty compelling safety group with him and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So I could buy that, but I think he's the only legit one. But, man, this thing, the way the Eagles have this set up, this is going to be an offensive lineman. It's an offensive lineman. Hopefully what the Eagles do is they could get Troy Fautanu and draft him and then take one of their second-round picks or something else and do a blockbuster trade, find a way to get what's-his-face from Jacksonville, Josh Allen. If they could do that, yes, and I am losing my voice, it sounds like I know. But if they could do that, A+, man. It is the way I see it. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat, and remember, it's, wait. I got to say this. Okay, so I have to go out of town on Thursday. So I will be out of town on Thursday, meaning Saturday night I will not be able to do a shakedown. So me and Joey will be doing and holding a Philly shakedown on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. So look for that. We should be doing that because I'm going to be out of town living it up and doing a bunch of crazy things. But with that said, we'll be live tomorrow night. And I might even come live during the day tomorrow because I might get home early since we're leaving early on Thursday. But with that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it.
Who in the world is Mark Holmes? He's a guy that sits in his mom's panties.
Oh, God. No. I want to be like the Eagles.